Merry Christmas. No, just kidding. It's not actually Christmas yet, but I feel like it is Christmas. I'm hanging out here in the test studio. Welcome back to another episode of Meet the Fam. Super excited to be hanging out with Todd today, mostly because just talking about Christmas and everything that he does makes me feel like excited and celebratory. So if you are not a big Christmas person, I apologize in advance because this episode is going to get a little festive as we chat through some of the work that Todd is doing. But before we jump into that, I wanted to say hi to everyone over in the chat. I'm rocking two monitors today, so it's kind of a surreal feeling. It looks like we have Luis on. Hey, Luis. We have Paul hanging out. Parker is always here. Hey, Parker, how's it going? I hope it's warmer weather where everyone is. It is New England, cold and rainy here today. I love it. Yes, when out on the lawn, there rose such a clatter. We knew it must be Todd from Christmas Clatter. I love it. And we have David on. Everyone is hanging out. Well, definitely keep your questions coming. Let me know how everything is going there with you. We would love to be able to hear from everyone that's watching. Hit that share button, hit that like button, let other people know. And without further ado, let's just jump in because I'm filled with excitement today. Todd's here!
Hey!
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Well, I broke out my lights, our Christmas tree icons. I'm just going to skip right over Halloween and go straight to Christmas today. So excited you're here, Todd.
Oh, thank you. I always call Halloween the last speed bump before Christmas because I just throw in Thanksgiving with Christmas, like pre-Christmas.
Well, it's so funny because I grew up in Canada, as most people now are aware, and in Canada, Thanksgiving is before Halloween. So it's such a surreal feeling being in the United States now because we still celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving, and so by the time we get like through Halloween to like actual Thanksgiving, I'm just way ahead. I'm like, no, I don't want to do this at all anymore. I am fully in the Christmas mode and Christmas spirit. Although I will say my husband has this very ridiculous rule that we often break where we're not allowed to decorate anything until December 1st. So like no tree, no like crazy decor. So I have to kind of like sneak out like holiday mugs that I'm like, this has always been here. Well, before sorry, go ahead, Todd.
No, that's all right. A lot of people have rules like that. But, I understand.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it keeps it special if it's like restricted into a tighter timeline.
That's part of it. You know, if it's around year-round, all year, then the special wears off.
That's true. That is true. Well, before I get like way too excited, why don't we let you introduce yourself to folks who may be watching who don't know yet who you are? Why don't you tell us who you are and what Christmas Clatter is?
Well, my name's Todd Killian, and I started Christmas Clatter as a podcast only back in May of 2019. So
that's awesome.
It's you really love something when you start a Christmas podcast in May.
You're like counting down. You're like, we're almost there.
But I always wanted to move. I always knew I wanted to move to YouTube because when I started the podcast, I also started a YouTube channel, but I was trying to learn to podcast and YouTube at the same time, and something had to give. Yeah. And so I decided to just go podcast only because it seemed like I was grasping that a little quicker.
Sure.
And I thought, well, I'll wait till I get the podcast on cruise control, then move to YouTube because there's so much Christmas that's visual. Yeah. It's hard to talk about the newest, coolest ornaments. Yeah. You got to describe them to everybody.
That would be really tough. You're like, it's red and round. That's such a good point. I love that, and I think that's like really important. Not to cross over with our other shows, but we've been obviously talking about that a lot on the Flow podcast, which is coming up next for anyone that wants to keep hanging out with us all day. But I think it's really important. It can be a lot. It can be a lot when you're trying to figure out like exactly what you want to do, and you should be really focused on your content. So I think it's really smart that you were like, okay, I'm getting this the podcast side of it is making a lot more sense. I'm going to start there, knowing that eventually I'll get back into YouTube and sort that out later. I think at least gets you moving in the right direction and gets you, getting the content out there as best as you can. So it's a great move.
Yeah, you kind of get the ball rolling. You kind of, because the podcast has changed from what I was doing when I started to what I'm doing now. Even though it's still Christmas, the whole format's completely changed.
Oh wow!
Because the ebbs and flows of what you're doing. Because I started off with these ideas, and some worked, and most of them didn't.
It's so true.
But when I start having guests on and talking to people, I've always been someone able to talk to people real easy as far as carrying on conversation one-on-one. It's one of those things where we'd go to the grocery store and we'd be, the lady be checking us out, and I'd be talking to her, and me and my wife would walk away, and she's like, "Who was that?" And I'm like, "I have no idea." I talked to her like you knew her forever. I'm like, it just, it's part of that Southern charm, I guess.
Exactly.
And so when I start having some one-on-one what I call the Christmas conversations, one-on-one conversations with people that love Christmas, I always frame it as it's like talking to your favorite cousin at the holidays, and that's what really latched on and took off. So it kind of, start focusing on that and just, talking with people that are doing some cool Christmas things, whether it's artists that have music or, authors that have books, or just people that want to talk about Christmas because they love it's a fandom, like anything else. So.
It is. It so is. And it's so like tradition centered and memory centered, at least, I think at least here in North America. Maybe it's a little bit different elsewhere, but that I think people love to be able to share their stories or what makes it special for them or what favorite memories and things they have. So yeah, I could totally see how it would move really quickly into that interview format where you have, people able to share their stories and gives you great ideas too, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. And people just like to hear people talk about stuff they love. I don't know how many times I've listened to podcasts about topics that I normally would not be interested in. But just because the people talking about them love them so much, it's like, I'll listen, and so that really makes it a lot of fun. And one thing, a few people have asked me that are kind of do different podcasts or YouTube channels. They're like, but it's so niche, and it's like, yeah, but it's really a deep Christmas, even though it's seasonal, and most people just think of it as the last month or 2 months of the year.
Yeah.
The history is so rich and there's so much tied around it.
Yeah.
That you can go in so many different directions, if it's music or the movies or the food. I mean, there's over 300 Christmas podcasts now, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's not a big by any means, but there's one friend of mine, Glenn, does called Seasons Eatings. It's all about the food.
There's so many. I mean, that's a niche of a niche, which I think is really great for everyone listening and watching to understand that sometimes, really niching down or niching down and finding that specific space, it may feel like it's really, really specific and that there isn't an audience. I'm willing to bet that there is, because there's people that, want to hear that or want to learn about everything. And you're so right. I think when people are passionate, it does make it interesting to watch, even if it's a topic you wouldn't at all have thought. I literally last night with my husband watched a 15-minute YouTube documentary, I guess, for lack of a better word, all about sea cucumbers. That was like hilarious and ridiculous. And I learned a ton. And I'm like, why are we even it's like, someone thought it was funny and sent it along to us. And I was like, I never in a million years would have watched something that seemed so incredibly boring, but ended up being a lot of fun. So I mean, hey, if we can watch something on sea cucumbers, anything is possible for any topic out there.
I mean, I just watched like 20 minutes on the history of the monster cereals like Frankenberry and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And it was wildly entertaining,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think Christmas is funny because it is a bigger topic than it seems, because you're right in that you have all of those sub niches under it, right? You could talk about the music or the history or global perspectives or the food, or so. I could easily see how you have an entire year of topics, if not more.
Yeah, and there's Christmas podcasts that do that, and I keep saying podcasts because most of them are in podcast form.
Sure.
There's very few that are on
video.
YouTube itself right now.
Yeah.
And at Christmas Clatter, when I started the podcast, that was one of the things I decided to do. That's why it's Clatter, because clatter just means noise.
Yeah.
I cover everything. I'll touch on the the music and the movies and all that stuff and traditions and decorations, and because there were so many that were niched down so much, and it's like, well, I like the music, but I don't want to just talk about the music all the time.
Yeah.
So I just kind of turned it into this like Christmas variety show. The variety shows that used to come on.
Yeah.
I guess they still kind of have a
I think they still
a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Here and there. And so you get a little bit of everything, and try to keep it that that Christmas spirit through the year. And it's been really interesting. It's a lot different to do, because you get on and you watch these videos on how to grow your podcast, grow your YouTube channel.
Yep.
And that stuff still applies, but I have to figure out how to make it apply with Christmas, because I get a spike.
You get a spike, at the holiday, right?
Holidays,
exactly.
And so it's like the stair step, and it's been really cool, because it's like spike at Christmas and then it drops, but the floor is higher than what it was before Christmas.
Yeah.
And then so every year the
You're
spike
moving the
gets
needle.
higher and the floor gets, it all.
Yeah.
And one of the real interesting things I didn't even realize until I was a year and a half in is, like, I'll release an episode in March, and it'll have decent numbers on it. And a lot of people on podcasts release an episode in March, and then once November comes around, it's kind of, I don't want to say dead, but it's kind of really slowed.
Yeah.
So that episode in March will spike like
in
3
December.
times.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's searchable.
People save them, and then they just catch up on the whole year around the holidays.
Yeah. It's like that. It's that binge mentality, and I'm sure too, it's a little bit of probably sharing too. Like it's once it gets into the season of it, it's like, oh, I heard that great thing back then, and I'm going to find that, re-listen to it again. I'm going to share that with family and friends who are now all in thinking about it in the mood. Yeah, you probably pick up a ton of keywords all around the holiday season, for sure. For sure.
And last year, I actually launched in April. I launched on YouTube, and I was doing I was putting a video format, a video version of the podcast out. It was edited up, and then I was doing that every other week, and then every other week I had what I call the traditional YouTube video, like an unboxing or review or reaction.
Oh, that's cool. So it's a mix of both. Yeah.
It's a mix, but man, it was a lot, because it was something every week. Trying to come up with something every week was kind of daunting, and I wasn't really happy with how the video podcasts were turning out. So before Christmas last year, I decided that this year, and I started doing my videos live on YouTube as a live stream.
Yeah.
Just recording the episode.
Yeah.
And then I polish up the episode for podcasts.
Yeah.
But it's live, and then there's interactions, and then once I cut off the podcast recording, then I do it's basically the same format the flow was.
Yeah. I'm loving it.
Had parallel ideas at the same time.
Yeah, that's great. I love hearing that.
Have a Q&A or something special, at the end for those that tuned in to watch live.
And
that's been absolutely wonderful.
It makes it faster, I'm sure. I mean, at least for us, I feel like the process is much smoother, because there is the live aspect of it forces us to be live, like forces us to record and forces us to get the content done. And it kind of lessens that feeling of it needs to be perfect, because the perfection part can come a little bit later in the editing, and we're not going to get all the way there anyway, because we only have a week. So it does really, like, there's less of oh, we can't record today, or my hair doesn't look good today, or I can't do this for this XYZ reason. You have a live audience that's sitting there waiting for you. So yeah, it's a great format. I'm really liking it.
It does, and makes me a little bit more disciplined.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I can talk with people, and if I get someone else who can talk, we'll go for hours.
That's
And
the
when
hard
people are
part is that
watching-
you're having fun,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh man, that was like 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, and so with people on their live, I'm more cognizant of their time,
Yeah.
and I don't want to just be, taking up so much of their time. So, and that's helped a
Yeah.
lot too to get focused and things. And then, with Ecamm, it just records as a live stream, and then I just take that recording.
Yep.
I use Hindenburg Pro to edit
cool.
my audio, and I'm able to drop the video file right into Hindenburg, and it pulls the audio out.
Oh, neat. Oh, I haven't heard of that one
and-
before. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to look that one up.
Oh yeah, if someone's looking for, there's all kinds of good audio editing.
Yeah, there's so many.
services.
Yeah, there's so many tools.
But Hindenburg I've used for a long time and just love it. It's real easy to use, and I just drop it. And I usually try to get the audio out by the next morning.
Oh wow, you're speedier
Yeah.
than us then.
Yeah.
We give ourselves that full week, and we use every drip of that week, every minute. We're soaking out of it.
Well, I have so much of it, so many of the parts saved that it's drag and drop.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been doing it for a while, so
Yeah.
when there's a mess up, in the live stream, I kind of know where it's at and can get to it. And,
That's where you do the visual. Do you do the visual cues where you like hold your hands up or hold your hands in front of your face so that you know where the mess up is? It's funny. I don't come from a video editing background, and even over the last year, I would say, of doing, the podcast and sort of doing more of these live shows. I remember Diana Gladney saying that to me, like one of the first interviews I did when I first did this job was that she did like a lot of visual cues. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then I never really like took that advice until this time. And I'm like, it's way easier if you hold something up or like do something that can indicate it. And no one live necessarily notices and or cares, but you could really save yourself a ton of time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a trick I get from, I'm a professional wrestling fan. And if you ever notice, if you watch professional wrestling, the announcer will hold up a pin.
Oh, I don't know if I'd noticed that.
That's a cue that they're getting ready to go to commercial.
Ah, there you
a lot of
go.
times if I'm talking, I'll hold up a pin just as a.
There you go.
Then no one ever knows.
Do you have a Christmas tree pen? So I'll geek out with you for a minute. I do a project. I do a project every year for the last probably 5 years or so called December Daily. Have you heard of that one?
No, I have not.
Okay, so it's a scrapbooking project or like a photo memory book project, and it's absolutely perfect for people like me for a few reasons. One, I'm a huge Christmas geek anyway, but it forces you to document every single day in the month of December, but you only get one page to do it with. So the concept is that by the end of the month, you have a completed album, and the albums are they're 6 by 8, so they're they're not huge, and each page, you have space for maybe like 1 or 2 photos. And if you go see, shows or concerts or movies and things like that, you can you stick your tickets and things in it. But I love it because, and I don't for folks watching, I am not the person that can actually keep up with it throughout the month. I often will leave a couple of days and jot down what I did and then catch up on the weekends. But by the end of the month, my whole album is done and I've documented the entire time, and I get to have a place where I can keep all of those cool mementos throughout the month. And the company that does it, every year they release a new, they're selling all kinds of Christmas related stickers and papers and pens and all that stuff. And every year they release the new collection of it, almost by weird coincidence on my birthday. So it's become my new birthday thing. End of August, I go crazy into Christmas and I order all these things, and then I wait for my box to arrive. My box just got here maybe a week ago. But yeah, I bought little Christmas tree pens, and I got all of the little, stickers and crazy things, the little Santas, all different Santas so I can stick around. So now it'll be a game of oh man, how to build the perfect page and how to not include too many things as you're building.
Oh yeah. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's become one of our new traditions that we do. So I'm like, okay, we gotta like now work our way through the list so that every day has like a cool thing so I can put it in my album. Or like one day's got to be like making hot chocolate, and one day's got to be watching all of our movies. And I'm sure my family is like, eye roll. We don't want to do this anymore, but it's fun for me.
There's a friend of mine that does content as the Santa Dad, and he does a scrapbook reef every year for the year with his two daughters.
I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, it's really cool, and
it's awesome.
He saves stuff throughout the year to put on there.
Yeah,
they take a vacation or stuff, and it's a really neat idea.
Yeah,
he does.
I love it. I love that. I love those kinds of like challenges or things that keep you focused on accomplishing something every day, which like brings me, I guess, to a question. You probably have an interesting experience as it pertains to Vlogmas, because it's probably your absolute busiest time of year for creating content. Have you ever tried participating in Vlogmas? How do you feel about taking on challenges at that time of year?
I actually did Vlogmas last year.
Nice.
And what I did, because I had so much stuff, is and I'm going to do it again this year, is I bought an advent calendar.
I love it.
I just unboxed today every year.
Oh, there you go.
Every day I had to unbox one of the pieces and showed it off. And
oh, that's cool. What kind of advent calendar was it?
It was a Christmas story.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I had little characters and from the movie and different
the lamp and
I had the lamp and Ralphie in the bunny suit and all kinds of things, and so I'm gonna do that again this year. People kind of really enjoyed that.
That would be fun. I'll have to tune into that. That'll be great.
Yeah, and I was able to thought about doing it live this year.
Yep.
But then I got thinking, I really don't want to do a live stream on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Some of it, you have to save that time for friends and family and your traditions, right?
Right. So I may do a couple of them live, but I just have to see when we get there. Plus, trying to get it at the same time, because I work as a letter carrier for the Postal Service.
Oh, God.
That's
awesome.
as well.
Yeah.
So my time I get home is going to be wildly different. So try to keep a consistent time for something every day will be a little tough. Whereas if I record it beforehand, then I'm able to schedule it out. So that's still up in the air. But I have an advent calendar this year that I'll be doing for Vlogmas, and that's one thing I've realized too over the years is I don't release anything on Christmas Eve, because I do a special Christmas Eve episode, but I release it on the 23rd.
Oh, okay, nice.
And that's because people won't listen on Christmas Eve.
No, that makes sense.
And those, I mean, some people will, but then the only people that catch up on it are the people that really love Christmas, and everybody else is kind of done with Christmas after that. So, so I do it on the 23rd, and that way I still capture, people that aren't into Christmas year round, still have a chance to listen, and then I take. Then I take the, after the 23rd, I'm off till usually around St. Patrick's Day. I just take it off and work on what I call all the administrative stuff, websites and, figure out what worked, what didn't work. I got last year I got set up on Calendly because I was having some scheduling problems. And
I love Calendly,
and take care of all that stuff. I built this studio this past year.
Awesome. It looks great. I love all of the background stuff. It's so fun.
Yeah. And so I get a break in and kind of work on the behind the scenes stuff, and still keep the social medias going a little bit here and there when there's some news or to share, or just put something out there for that.
So is that a break when you take those couple of months off? Is that like a seasonal break for your podcast as well as for your YouTube channel, or is it just the YouTube channel? Nice. Okay.
It's a complete break. It gives me a chance to, recharge a little bit.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, even though I'm a big Christmas nut, my favorite week of the year is that week between Christmas and New Year's.
It's mine too. You and I are kindred.
I just love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love that week so much. And it's just, traditionally here at the house, we don't play much TV during that week, and we
Yeah.
get, we clear the kitchen table, we put out, jigsaw puzzles
Yeah,
and do
us
that.
too. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels like
And
that week has less or very few expectations. So, you're
yeah.
sort of, it's, you have, the kids are playing with all the kind of new gifts that they've got. Everyone's still on break. You still have New
Hmm.
Year's, up ahead. So yeah, no, same. I love that. I also love New Year's Eve. I feel like we've kind of finally over the last few years settled on a number of traditions that are really low key that I just really like. Like it feels same thing, like a really kind of nice closeout to the year in the way
Yeah.
that makes sense for us. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. It's a good week, and it's a good time to take off, and having that built into the schedule has been really nice. This past year I actually took off more than I planned.
Mhm.
I didn't do anything I put out one episode in like the first 6 months of the year.
Oh, wow.
And in last December, um, right after Thanksgiving, I got COVID
Oh,
really bad. That's like the sickest
shoot.
I've ever been in my life.
I believe it.
Apparently someone had it at Thanksgiving, didn't know it, and
Oh,
my mom got sick, and my sister and
oh
my
goodness. I'm
dad, me
sorry.
and my wife. I mean, whew, we were sick,
Yeah.
and so I just kind of canceled everything, and I had the I had the Vlogmas stuff, a lot of it recorded, and the stuff I didn't, I just kind of like would take a bunch of medicine and get the half feeling better and finished it up.
Oh,
And then I was like, well, I'll get back to it. And I tell you what, that long COVID is a real deal, Holyfield kind of thing. And it
yep.
took me a while to get motivated to do anything, just to
Yeah.
have the energy. And then, and then my son was graduating high school. My parents had their 50th wedding anniversary, and we remodeled our kitchen, and other things happened. And then it's finally, and every time you know, sit down to do the Christmas Clatter stuff, I was like, I just ain't got it in me. I almost thought I was going to quit,
Mm,
just because it was getting so hard. And then, I talked with Doc Rock, about it and
yeah.
things, and kind of motivated each other. And then, seems like soon as Leon Day hit, which is June 25th,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it fired back, and
It clicked. Yeah.
I set a goal for Christmas in July to get fired back up, and
Yeah.
I just launched with the podcast that says I'm out of practice. Went for about 15 minutes and kind of did a relaunch and a reboot, but it was a real struggle, and I couldn't really give you any reasons why. It's just every time I sit down, it was like, ugh,
I think,
you
I
know.
mean, I think there's probably a lot that goes into it, but I think it's a really good thing for everyone to hear, including myself. I think it's really easy it's easy when you're in like a burned out or not feeling well or kind of
Mhm.
mindset to say like, okay, next time, or like I'm not in the right headspace. And that's
Yeah.
fine. You probably needed that for some period of time, but being able to find, I think it was great that you were able to talk with Doc and
Mhm.
find your way back into it and setting the goal, because it sounds like throughout this entire experience, you've had a really high level of intentionality of, that like, this is the seasonality of a show. I have these set breaks and
Mhm.
downtime, and I have this time that's devoted to, family, and this time that's devoted to my full-time job. And you've really found a way to balance it all out. So I think it's really important. We haven't talked yet for the flow, but I think having a good understanding of seasons and of, setting expectations for when you need downtime and breaks, and,
Mhm.
letting your audience know that is really important, because I think it would be really difficult to do, a live show or a podcast or, whatever your thing is every single week
Mhm.
forever, or every, like
Yeah.
you are going to need those times where, you reset and you recharge and
Mhm.
you brainstorm and you're able to kind of unplug and be away from it for a little bit and then get back
Yeah.
to it. Cause those are the moments where all of the great ideas might come, or, really being able to think through what's possible.
Yeah. You definitely need that recharge, and I always make notes through the year, of stuff I want to
Yeah.
work on or stuff that's not working, and that's the time to get those things done.
Yeah.
Because like said something about scheduling problems. It's like I couldn't change scheduling,
Yeah.
you know patterns in the middle of the holiday season.
Yeah, exactly. You can't make changes when you're busy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's like, so it's just like, well, push through and get through and then get it all set up and ready to roll.
Yeah.
For next season.
Yeah.
And because I've been there so many times where it's like, what was that thing I was going to work on? And without writing it down, and it's just too fleeting to keep grasp of. And but it's been a wild ride for sure. I've really enjoyed it. I got a comment on my last episode. I had Brian Earl on. He's the host of Christmas Past podcast.
Oh, cool.
And he's one of the flagship Christmas podcasts. He started a few years before me and was my mentor and getting me started and
really
designed
cool.
my logo and stuff. And he's reached over 1 million downloads last year and has a book out this year and was talking to. I got this comment from a lady and said something about I'm gonna mess it up, but kind of restoring her faith in Christmas community and getting her connected, how she kind of felt isolated and things. And this was a comment on the replay too. And
neat.
And it was like something like that. Just really was motivating to keep me moving on. And after my first Christmas of just doing the podcast, I got a Instagram message from a guy saying that it was his first Christmas without his mom, and that the podcast helped him make it through.
Yeah.
And it's like I saved it, and it was just it still kind of gets me because it's like it's just something I'm doing here in my basement, and things, and I end every episode of Christmas Clatter with keep Christmas hope alive every day, and that's just kind of the goal of the podcast, is to give everybody a little hope. Every time I hop on a live chat, whether it's Ecamm or someone else, I always put the hello with the 2 Christmas trees, and without fail, someone says, it just makes me happy to see them. And it's like,
it does.
That's what it's about.
It does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. We say this often, but I think like even just hearing you give some of those examples is a really great reminder. It's not about us. Like it feels like it is when you're in it and when you're thinking through like what you want to do and what kind of show you want to have and the content that you want to create. But after a couple of episodes, you have an audience and it's about them and the value that they're getting out of it and the and the hope that you're sparking and if you have a kind of show where you're answering questions or doing demos, it's that what you're teaching people. It really quickly becomes less about you and the content you're creating and more about your audience on the other side and what value you're bringing them and what experience they're having. So yeah, that's awesome to hear. It matters.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that really keeps you going because I'm one of the few Christmas podcasts that yearly does a episode on the Christmas blues and people that struggle around
hard.
The holidays. Because I always say Christmas makes the happy times happy and the sad times sadder.
It really does. It really does, and that can change for people too really quickly. It could be your favorite holiday, and then awful things can happen. So
so I always dedicated. I'll be having one here shortly. Dedicated episode to making sure that you're okay and that the people around you are okay. That kind of stuff. To watch out for, and the stuff you can do to help and because it would be irresponsible to talk about all the fun and joy Christmas stuffy without addressing the people that really do have real problems,
a real hard time. Yeah, exactly.
And kind of the thing I always say, and I always think people are here, get tired of hearing it. It's like I always tell people, I said, well, step out your front door and look at all the houses around you, and if you make sure all those people are okay, then we'll have everybody covered, So,
exactly. Yeah. Who's in your community? Felicia has a comment here. She says she's got a tough time during the holidays because as a caregiver, she really wants her siblings to show up and help out. It can be really stressful and affects the process. It can. I mean, no matter how close you are with your family or friends, or it's hard to know what everyone is going through, and it's hard to balance out all of those different perspectives in the holiday season. Yeah. Like there's so many different, some people who are like way into it, and then that can be triggering for other people who are not as into it. I try to be as sensitive as I can because I certainly know that like how I want to celebrate the holidays is really different than like how my kids want to or how my husband wants to or, you know, or what the celebrations are with any of our friend groups. We try to, you have to balance all of that out and sometimes probably make some sacrifices too on what, you know, what you want to do.
Yeah. I had to learn several years ago that me talking about Christmas could be too much for some people.
Yeah.
You know, the lady that lives right behind me, I used to work with her at the post office. She's retired now. Mm-hmm. And I always put lights out on the house. I don't go like Clark.
You don't go, I want to one of these years. I'm going to go Griswold crazy.
I'm working up. I'm working up to that. Again, got to build up that.
You got to say, you got to save it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was at work telling people, you got to drive by the house and see the lights. And I went up to Pam. I said, Pam, you and Ernie need to drive around the block and come see the house. And she's like, nah, we're okay. And I said, we got to drive around. You just live on the same block. Just drive around the block and see. She's like, no, we're fine. She's like, we're not big on Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
you're like, I want you to be.
I was like kind of disappointed and beaten. And so I thought, you know what? I got some extra lights. So I went and grabbed extra lights and just wrapped the rails around my deck with Christmas lights, you know?
Yeah.
And turn them on. And she come to work and she says, I see what you did.
You're like, you're bringing the lights to me.
Yeah. And I said, well, if you weren't going to drive around the front of the house, I figured I'd get you some Christmas lights because they don't decorate at all. And she didn't say much to me. And then about a week before Christmas, and she come up to me out of the blue, which was unusual. She's very kind, but kind of
keeps to herself. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she comes up to me out of the blue and she says, you know, this morning I was drinking coffee and looking at your lights on your deck. Aww. And it was really nice. And she goes, it was really nice. And then she turns around and walks off. It's like, that's all I need.
That's all. Yeah. That's what I got. Yeah. That's what I'm going to share. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, it can make a difference. Yeah. I love lights. Gosh darn it, only being October.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through here. So I love, Yvette says, after the 4th of July, it's Christmas. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And you can pre-record for Christmas Eve. Yeah. Yeah. I think, it's so funny as we have so many different, industries and, you know, and channels and content creators in the Ecamm fam. I think what you're doing is so interesting from like a content scheduling standpoint because you have that like ebbs and flows and probably a lot of people who find episodes, you know, in that replay, you're almost like banking episodes that are going to be popular in replay because of those, you know, those popular search terms or things that people, you know, are always looking for, right? Like people are always looking for information on like, you know, top holiday songs, best holiday movies to watch, you know, best holiday cookie recipes to bake, any of those topics, you know, if you have guests on or if you're covering them or unboxing them or talking about the history, your content is just going to show up in all of that. So yeah, it's neat. Yeah. You have to think about the replay.
Yeah. Last Halloween, I put out the 5 spookiest Christmas movies, you know, for Halloween. And
I love that.
And that's been a pretty popular one. But
I'm gonna have to look that one up. Spooky Christmas movies. I love it.
And I'm not saying they're good. I'm just saying they're the spookiest. There's a few good ones in there, but I'm not saying they're all. If you haven't seen Anna and the Apocalypse yet, you need to watch that.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. Yeah. I've been on a I'm moving into my Hallmark, like Netflix is now doing the like, you know, like campy, super campy, romantic Hallmark movies for the holidays. And I'm all in for that every year now.
Well, Anna and the Apocalypse is zombie apocalypse, rock and roll musical, and Christmas all rolled up in one. And it's done very well.
Oh, okay. That one's on my list. I will definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. But, you know, I was thinking about this when we got scheduled. And to me, Christmas isn't much different than running like a football podcast.
That's true.
You know, it's got the seasons. And luckily, Hallmark releases their dream book for their ornaments in April.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You probably get a lot of stuff early.
Yeah, that gets me a jumping off point. And then we have June, which is Leon Day, which is 25th of June, which is the day that people that do crafts start working on their Christmas projects. So that's always kind of a celebration.
Yep.
And then Hallmark releases ornaments early July,
Wow.
and then once school starts up, time just starts rolling.
Oh, it flies. How is
Faster.
it?
Yeah.
I know. I'm like sad that it's October and already I'm just like, wow, I'm going to blink and it will be the end of the year. So yeah. Yvette's got a comment here. She says, what's awesome too is that you can do a pop-up live using Ecamm during the holidays. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So even if you're not a holiday, if you're not like Todd and run a holiday specific channel, you can absolutely do any of those pop-ups for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. With Ecamm, you can, make your scene just, decorate it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Minutes.
Yeah.
Although I can't take credit. These lights, although awesome, were in the holiday pack that we gave everyone last year from Live Streaming Pros. So I did not design these, but they're really fun.
Yeah. They look great. And
yeah, and you can do really fun things too. I was playing around earlier. Let me find my mouse here. My monitor's on the wrong side, which is oh no. But you can do like crazy things. I was doing let's see if I can find my. Like this is SnapCam. So you can go like really crazy with I'm over here. I can do really crazy things with stuff like SnapCam. So, I mean, even if you don't have like a big budget or you're not sure exactly what to do, you can do a lot of really neat things just by being creative and playing around with some of the free or, or cheaper tools out there. I was amazed. I plugged my phone in to use as a camera for the first time in probably a couple months. I've just been, using mostly my Sony my Sony mirrorless camera because it's here in the studio. But the quality of the iPhone, and I don't have the newest. I'm not Doc Rock, so I don't have the newest best one. But the camera quality is great. So definitely, try switching things up and using it.
My first year on YouTube, I was on an iPhone XR and then I switched over to an iPad.
There you go. Yeah.
Using camo and so that was my first year, and then I was able to snag a Sony ZV-10.
Yeah.
And been using that because the autofocus is so good for.
Yeah, that's what I'm on right now. Yeah, it does make a big difference.
And a few episodes ago I was talking about being prepared for Christmas, how to to make a plan and to make a list because that's what Santa Claus
Check
does.
It twice.
You got a goal, and because I put out a Christmas planner this year for people.
Okay. I have to run over after.
Yeah. I got not to make this a plug, but I got.
No, I 100% need that. Please make it a plug just for me. Yeah. I'm gonna run over.
It's available on
it's so
Amazon.
Fun.
It's like $9 on Amazon.
Oh, I love it.
ChristmasClatter.live/planner.
There we go.
So, but what I did was I went to Canva and found these PNGs of ornament baubles, and then I used those for my slides to drop down.
See? Yep.
With the different talking points I had. And so it takes, if you're able to make a scene for anything in Ecamm, then just to make a Christmas flare, literally, within 5 minutes you can have a festive holiday party and things. And I'm last year I had a holiday party planned as a live stream, but after getting sick, I had to kind of can that. So I'm hoping to revive it this year.
Yeah, we started planning ours. So we'll have to touch base and see how we can work on it.
I have an award show I'm going to be doing on.
Fun.
On here, it's called the Silver Bell Music Awards. It's for the best Christmas music, and I actually got the domain for the Christmas Music Hall of Fame. I own that now.
Oh,
I don't
fun.
know what I'll do with it, but eventually it'll do something with it.
More to come.
And then a friend of mine, which I just talked about, Brian Earls, he was wanting to do this game show thing.
Game shows are always fun, especially holiday trivia.
And I'm like, dude, I can do it on Ecamm.
Mm-hmm.
We can have all the effects and the sounds and blinky lights and all. Just let me know what you want, and we can build it. And so I'm working with him on that, and so it's just I didn't start off on Ecamm. I started off on another service, which was really good.
Yeah.
Don't have any complaints. It just wasn't as flexible
Yeah.
or have as many options, and that I wanted to get to. But to get my feet wet and to get going, it was fine. And
Yeah.
in fact, a lot of people I always send them to Ecamm, but if they don't have a Mac, then I send them
Yeah.
another direction.
Yeah, definitely. There's lots of options out there for sure.
Yeah.
I know Glenn's favorite line is, it's not for everybody.
Yeah,
It's not for everybody. Find what works for you.
yeah. There was one friend of mine. It's like I wanted to suggest Ecamm, but I just knew with his abilities that maybe not now.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's no, definitely.
Yeah.
I think for us, what we care much more about is that people are out there creating and finding it. Like, I feel like if you're out there and you're creating and you're succeeding and you're feeling really good about what you're accomplishing, awesome. If along that path you find Ecamm, great. Even better. We'd love to hang out with you. But I think the important thing is just people understanding everything that's possible with video and with audio out there. It's amazing these days. We have a question coming in from Elaine. Sorry to interrupt you, Todd. Did you purchase the Glowforge? And if so, how are you using it for your business? I want to know what the Glowforge is. Do you know what that is?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We bought one for my wife, and she's been cutting out some Christmas ornaments and making stuff. I don't have any on my
Oh,
desk
is it like a Cricut? I'm
It's
crafty
like,
and I don't know what it is.
like a Cricut on steroids. Cricut does like vinyl cuts, but this is
Yeah.
a laser cutter.
Oh,
Laser cutter
stop
cut
it.
wood and acrylic and does all kinds of etchings and
Oh,
and
that sounds
stuff.
so cool. That sounds like a
Oh,
mix
yeah.
between like what I love and what my husband loves. Maybe that'll be in our Christmas plans for this year.
Yeah.
Glowforge, writing it down.
Yeah, my wife has an Etsy store,
Yeah.
and West Fifth Studio is the name of it, and
West Fifth Studio. Awesome.
she's actually my first official sponsor on my YouTube channel.
That's incredible. I love it. I love
I said,
partnering up. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm like, I said, you can be my first big sponsor on YouTube. She's like, how's that going to work? I'm going to just say, well, you're my sponsor. You know?
It works like this. I will plug your Etsy shop and you will support me in what I am doing.
Yeah. So, and, she actually just about, I guess 6 weeks ago, switched jobs, and now she's completely remote working from home.
Oh, nice.
Which has really freed up a lot of her time.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Come down and create. And so this is our first year doing it. And I told her, I said, this year we'll just do what we can. We'll learn, and then we'll ramp it up, and and then Christmas season 2023, we'll hit it hard. But this first year is just like anything else. The first year is a learning year.
Yeah.
And like I tell people wanting to podcast, I'm like, to get that first episode out of the way, because you'll be 100 times better on your second episode.
Oh my gosh. Every episode, we're, what are we now? 11 or 12 in on the flow. And I'm like, even just the difference between like episode 9 and, the one we just rolled out is crazy. It's crazy how you figure out like little things, or you're a guest on someone else's show and you're like, oh, why are we not doing that? We should add that in. Or, how you're doing little things. It's kind of awesome that it's also, I mean, I guess we're in a video podcasting space, but it's cool how public and how visual and how like accessible everyone else's content is, because it's, if you're consuming it and you're finding all those things that you really like, take notes on what you like to be able to apply it to your own. It's all applicable. It's amazing what you can, what creative and cool things people are doing, and how we can all support each other or give each other cool ideas.
Oh yeah. There's ideas all over the place. You just have to be, open to hear them. I remember here, just a week or so ago, we were at Hobby Lobby looking, and my wife's like, I have this awesome idea that I need to do. And I said, okay. And we were walking down the aisle, and I said, did you record that in your phone so you don't forget? And she just kind of looked at me. She grabbed her phone out, but
yeah, I know. Yeah. Video memos. I'm trying so hard. Doc had told me a few weeks ago when we were in the middle of traveling, he was like, just like, I'm so like, I love taking photos, and I've come from like a background of being way obsessive with pictures. So I'm like, he's like, just every time you open your phone, immediately go over to video, or set it so it opens in video, and start taking video notes for yourself, or start recording it as a video and be able to use it that way. And it has made a big difference in being able to think differently about things.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. There's a comedian I heard, Tim Hawkins. He was talking about this on a podcast about, when you have an idea for a joke or something like that,
Yeah.
he used to just like write it down real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And now he does a video recording
Oh,
of it
cool.
because he said one time he woke up in the middle of the night with a joke and he wrote it down because he kept a pad of paper next to the bed. And then he
Yeah.
woke up the next morning and he's like, looks at it and he
It's like,
goes,
what is this?
what? He's like, what does monkey hairbrush mean? He just had no idea.
No idea. There was,
What-
no context, no
Yeah.
tone, yeah.
So
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's smart,
definitely
especially in
helps.
that field for sure.
Yeah. And I keep a list of show ideas and things, and
Yeah.
I use Google Keep right now for my notes. I know there's other things, but that's just the
Yeah.
one that seems to click best for
Yeah,
me.
whatever works.
Yeah, and it's like I have one I've had for a while because the pandemic hit and I wasn't able to use it. I was going to do a Black Friday bingo game,
That's fun.
to where if you're out and about, if you see like the mom with like the infant child that shouldn't be out there, or the
You're like, it's 2 a.m.
yeah,
What are you
or
doing?
yeah, or bros helping each other carry a TV,
Yeah.
kind of that kind of thing. And
That'd be
just as
fun.
a goofy game. It's like,
Yeah.
well, the pandemic hit, so it's like,
Yeah.
I'll hold on to that.
You'll get there. It'll
you
get
know.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, bingo. Yeah, I love all the games. You got me. You've reminded me of my desire for putting out some fun holiday game show kind of stuff. I think
Yeah.
that'll be great.
Well, it's just good, and it's like, I play this game, but people just gonna have to be honest, and then if they're not, they're not. But it's
Yeah.
just to have fun and
Yeah, it's just for fun.
to
Yeah.
really interact, to interact with the people in the audience, and
Yeah.
and the prizes don't have to be huge. A lot of people think, oh, the prizes got to be huge. They don't have to be huge.
No, people
You
just.
know.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I don't understand how fast time goes.
I
But,
know, it's like
but
it.
we're almost at the end of the hour. So I need to head over and get your Christmas planner. Is there anything else that we should let people know about? Anything that's upcoming? I'm excited for Vlogmas. I'm excited to
yeah,
follow your
Vlogmas.
advent calendars.
Well, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time
Mm-hmm.
is when my live streams are.
Yep.
So we'll be around tomorrow.
In
I
the
have,
description,
Santa,
you can grab
yeah.
the link for sure. Yep.
We have the Santa Dad on tomorrow.
Awesome.
To talk about living your best Christmas life.
Ooh.
And
That'll be interesting.
so that'll be tomorrow, and then I have a friend of mine releasing a new song next week. Luke McMaster. He's a fantastic artist. He has a new song called "Christmas in Slow Mo" coming out.
Oh, fun.
So we'll be doing some stuff with him.
Yeah.
And if you haven't heard his music, you guys will enjoy it. He's real soulful, and is really really good. We've got all kinds of things planned. Got a Halloween special coming up to do. It's just kind of the calendar's already filled up, and it's wild. It just fills up faster every year, which is fantastic.
I love it.
Also, I want to plug, if anybody's interested, this year's the bicentennial for "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And
I just sent you my video right before we.
Yes,
It was so fun. Everyone needs
yeah.
to do this with us.
so I'm gathering creators to do a joint reading of the poem.
Yeah.
So reach out to me if you're interested at Todd@ChristmasClatter.com. All I'll need from you is a video of you reading the poem. Then I'm going to edit everybody together
Yeah.
in some form or fashion. But I'll need those by the 1st of November. That way I have a full month to get it edited before December.
Yeah.
But,
Pastor
the
Felicia,
bicentennial-
I'm looking at you because your voice is awesome for this. I was reading it earlier this morning and I was like, Pastor Felicia's going to kill this.
Yeah, and the bicentennial. It's hard to believe, that's the most popular poem in the English language. And
Seriously.
it's
Crazy.
printed. Yeah, it's got I forget, it's like over 6,000 different versions.
Wow.
And is historically it's important just for our grasp of Santa Claus and what Santa Claus is. And,
Yeah.
and that, and it's was formidable for the it was a little bit of an influence for Dickens to write A Christmas Carol. and
Yeah.
it's just packed full of history. In fact, 2 episodes ago, I had Pamela McCall on, who wrote this big, thick textbook on 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and it's a big, beautiful book, and I recommend anybody go get that too.
Oh my goodness, I totally want to get
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's definitely a
And
tradition in our house.
she starts back at 3rd century Rome and works
Wow.
her way forward because there's so much influence in the poem as far as Christmas traditions
Wow.
and she's spent 10 years writing this book for it,
Wow.
and it's well worth it. And she was a very, very kind lady to be on, and
Oh, neat. What's it?
yeah.
Can you remind me the name of it?
Um, 'Twas the night. I think it's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, bicentennial. Like it's a
Okay.
long
All
title.
right, we'll find it. We're going to find
I'll
it.
send you the link.
Okay,
I'll
good.
send you the link for it when we hop
Good.
off here.
Good.
So,
Yeah. And it looks like Paul read it for his Christmas Eve Vlogmas. So we'll get some files over to you. Send those in to Todd. This will be such a fun project.
Yeah. Now make sure everybody's name and channels up on screen when you are, plus be in the descriptions, and
Awesome.
and I can't guarantee everybody gets the equal amount of screen time. I'll do as fair job as I can. So
No, I think it's going to be incredible. How fun. What a great idea. I think it's a lot of fun. It was good. I will say too, it was just like really nice practice. Again, if you're newer to all this and you're watching even if you never use a video file like that, just kind of forcing yourself to slowly read through something, really, accentuate all of the words. And it was good. It was a lot of fun.
it was good. It's a good length.
Yeah, it's a
It's not
perfect
too
length.
long.
Yep.
Not too long, not too short.
Yeah.
It's not super rhymey.
Yeah,
get
it's the
tongue-tied.
perfect amount of it's fun to read, but you're right, it's not over the top.
And there's some words in there that we don't use commonly.
Yep.
So it is kind of almost like the perfect practice thing because of its level of difficulty and its length. And yeah, I've noticed that too. It's like, this is really a good warm up.
It was great. It was a great morning. It may have to be my new routine. I got in, I recorded, I played with Snapchat for a little bit. I was like, this is so fun. It was a great way to start the day.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh, there you go. Paul dropped the link for me. Yes, Paul. Right. I'm going to have to do some quick shopping here after I get off. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Todd, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Super appreciate it. And thank you even more for always, showing up and being in the comments with everyone. It's just, you bring such joy. Just seeing your little Christmas trees and your name is such a encouragement to everyone. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate everybody's been so kind and helpful. And I just want to say, if you see me in the comments and I don't comment a lot, it's usually because I'm at work and the phone's in my pocket.
Exactly.
And I'm just listening. So
yeah,
don't be offended if I don't say hi back to you.
I love that. Yeah, Todd's walking. He's getting that mail delivered. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, let's quickly here go through upcoming. We have the flow that is coming up in the next hour or so. We start at, just about an hour away from now. So 12 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube. Switch over. Doc and I are going to be chatting all about mindset, and we have a special guest. So it's going to be just a really great time. Marshall was out last week. He is feeling better now. So thanks to everyone for your patience, but he'll be back in front of the camera on the 20th at 2 p.m. Eastern for an entire episode all about live video podcast branding. So if you really want to get your brand looking its best, Marshall is incredible at design and branding. So it should be a really great session. And then we always have building blocks every Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. It also goes out across a number of other platforms. Anna and Fulgens will be walking everyone through how to use Ecamm and text overlays to create some really incredible broadcasts. And final quick plug for our Leap into Podcasting program guide. Whether you get a physical planner or a digital planner, each of them include access to our replay portal, which is available now. It has over 100 videos, including this year's sessions from Leap into Podcasting and the previous 2 year sessions from everything, every possible video topic, whether it's live streaming, video production, remote production, live selling, graphics and branding, podcasting, and everything in between. It's a really, really great value. So I'm hoping that everyone will enjoy it. And without further ado, bye from Todd and I, and we will see you again next week for Meet the Fam. Thank you to everyone who's been writing in and asking to be part of the show. We're booked like all the way into December, which is incredible. So yeah, keep those requests coming. We'd love to have you on. If you've been on, we'd love to have you back. So Todd, we'll have to have you back and talk a little bit more, maybe mid-year next year about what you've got going for the following Christmas season.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Oh, we will see everyone next time. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.